Right now, somewhere, there's a prayer you prayed months ago, still sitting untouched. Maybe you don't even say it out loud anymore. You just carry it. You've stopped expecting an answer, but you haven't stopped hoping for one. Today, we're talking about what you can actually do when you've prayed, waited, and still have no answer. Because waiting on God was never meant to mean putting your life on pause.
Number 1, keep praying, even when you don't feel like it. This sounds obvious, but it's often the first thing to quietly disappear. When a prayer goes unanswered long enough, most people don't stop believing in God. They just stop bringing that specific request back to Him. Luke 18:1 says Jesus told His disciples a parable, to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 says simply, pray without ceasing. Notice neither verse promises a quick answer as the reward for continued prayer. They simply instruct persistence. One possibility Scripture points to is that the praying itself, not just the eventual answer, is part of what God is doing in you.
If you've gone quiet on a specific prayer, that's worth noticing. Silence from God is not a reason to go silent yourself. Number 2, pray for God's will, not just your desired outcome. In the Garden of Gethsemane, hours before His arrest, Jesus prayed, "Not my will, but thine be done." This wasn't Jesus pretending He didn't want another way. He was honest about His desire first. He asked God to remove the suffering ahead of Him. But He didn't stop there. He held His request open-handed instead of closed-fisted. This isn't a call to stop wanting things or to pretend you don't care about the outcome. It's an invitation to bring what you want honestly to God, while leaving room for Him to answer differently than you're picturing. That's a harder prayer than simply asking for what you want. It's also a more honest one. Number 3, obey what God has already told you. A lot of people are waiting for new direction while quietly ignoring the last instruction they already received. Maybe it was a conversation you know you need to have, a habit you know needs to change, a relationship that needs addressing. It's worth asking honestly, are you waiting for a new word from God while sitting on the last one He already gave you? Scripture consistently ties obedience to clarity. Obedience doesn't guarantee your specific prayer gets answered on your timeline, but continuing to withhold obedience while asking for more direction is its own kind of stuck. Have you ever reached a point where you wondered whether continuing to pray was even worth it?
If that's where you are right now, keep watching, because the next few points speak directly into that. Number 4, stop putting your life on pause. This might be the most practical shift on this list. A lot of people are waiting for marriage, a job, healing, financial breakthrough, reconciliation, a child, or an opportunity. And somewhere along the way, they've quietly decided, I'll really start living once God answers this. Your career, your friendships, your growth, your joy, all put on hold until one specific prayer resolves. Scripture never asks you to freeze your life while you wait on God. It asks you to keep living faithfully in the meantime. Don't let one unanswered prayer become the reason your entire life stays in a holding pattern. Number 5, guard your heart against comparison. This is often the hardest part of waiting, and it rarely gets addressed directly. You prayed. Nothing happened. Then someone else receives exactly what you've been asking God for. Psalm 73 captures this tension honestly. The psalmist admits his feet had almost slipped watching the prosperity of people who seemed far less devoted than he was. John 21 records a similar moment when Peter asks Jesus about another disciple's future, and Jesus responds, "What is that to thee? Follow thou me."
That's a direct, almost blunt redirect. Someone else's answered prayer is not a measurement of your own standing with God. Comparison during a season of waiting will quietly poison the waiting itself if you let it.
Number 6, prepare yourself for either answer. A lot of Christian content promises that your breakthrough is coming, that if you just keep believing, the answer will eventually be yes. That's not a promise Scripture actually makes for every request. Faith isn't only trusting God when the answer turns out to be yes. Faith is trusting Him when the answer is yes, no, or not yet. That's a harder, more mature posture than simply waiting for the outcome you've already decided you want. It also protects you. If you've built your entire faith around receiving one specific answer, a no can feel like it shakes your relationship with God itself. But if your trust is in who God is, rather than in a guaranteed outcome, you can hold whatever answer comes with a steadier hand. Number 7, keep walking with God while the answer remains unknown. You may not know what God is doing with your unanswered prayer. You may never fully understand the timing or the reason, but you can decide who you're going to be while you don't know. That decision, made daily, matters more than most people realize. Your prayer may still be unanswered, but your life doesn't have to be. Here's what ties all 7 of these together. None of them promise you a specific outcome. They're not 7 techniques guaranteed to unlock your breakthrough. They're 7 postures you can choose, regardless of what the answer eventually turns out to be. Staying in prayer instead of going quiet, holding your request with open hands, obeying what's already clear, refusing to freeze your life, guarding your heart from comparison, preparing for any answer, and choosing who you'll be in the meantime. Your unanswered prayer doesn't mean God has forgotten you. And whatever the answer ultimately looks like, you can choose to keep trusting Him while you wait. If this gave you something practical to actually do with your waiting, take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more content like this, and comment below which of these 7 you needed to hear most today. And share this with someone who's been praying the same prayer for a long time and needs a reminder that their life doesn't have to stay on pause while they wait.